Episode 93 of The Loaded Couch. The Ben is directing The Batman. New look for PS4. Microsoft says goodbye. Switch reveal just hours away. Questions from listeners. And beer.
Beer.
Reach in at your own risk. This is The Loaded Couch.
All right, we're back. Episode 93 of The Loaded Couch. I'm Scotchhound.
And I'm Celtic Fox.
And we're a man late this week. Sorry about that, Pidge. Schedule just didn't work for everybody. But let's start off with our beer mash and see what the two of us are drinking. Go ahead, Cook.
Well, there was an assignment for this week.
I missed out. I'm an idiot.
That's okay. So I did actually get a little of my manhood back and my freedom. I drove to the liquor store tonight by myself.
How was that?
Refreshing.
Nice being back behind the wheel again?
Oh, it's nice. Still, I'm sure the doctor doesn't want me driving anywhere far, but this was just a couple minutes down the road. I got the Nooner from Sierra Nevada Brewing Company. It's it's their Pilsner. They're out of Chico, California, and they're also out of Mills River, North Carolina. It's bottle brown color, but it's like super clear in the bottle, so I'm assuming it's like a light yellow.
Okay.
5.2% alcohol.
And I am on the complete other end of the spectrum. I'm drinking the Dogfish Heads Worldwide Stout beer, Mountain Delaware Black, and it's 17% alcohol or somewhere there around.
Okay, so I'll drink 3 of these tonight. You just stick to that one.
Yeah, exactly. All right, speaking of with the high alcohol, when is enough enough? Craft brewers seem to be sticking with this mentality that higher is better. Now, higher alcohol content, that is. Now, I got a question. Us at the Loaded Couch, have we become accustomed to the higher alcohol beers since we started the cast? So much so that we would have a problem drinking lower alcohol by volume beers. If the craft brewers moved back that direction, or are we just going to continue with this? Anything above 10 is kind of, well, I should say anything above 8 is kind of like the new norm.
I'll try and unpack some of that you just said. I think we've become accustomed to it for sure, obviously. And if you want to call it a tolerance or any kind of...
But is it like accustomed to, the tolerance is one thing, but is it something that you kind of like look for now when you go shopping?
No, absolutely not. I don't. I don't walk down the aisle and say, what's this craft beer and what's the highest, alcohol I can get.
Right.
A lot of it has to do with whatever we choose our homework assignment to be or whatever I'm in the mood for. I'm just saying I think we've become more of the tolerance and accustomed to the higher volume just because of the amount we drink. But that said, I don't think that there's any harm or problem in the craft brewers going to the lower end of the spectrum too. Like even tonight, the Pilsner I'm drinking is 5.2. It's approaching that 4%.
But the nice thing with the Pilsners though is they're always kind of in that area, I think.
They're always in that area, and the flavor is really good. We're getting used to drinking these types of beers. The hints of the aromas and the flavors and stuff like that. I will give an example though. When I went to Jamaica with my wife a couple months ago for our anniversary on that party catamaran I was telling you about.
Right.
It was like a 1-hour trip back from the Dunn's River Falls that we went to. We took this party boat back on the catamaran, and it was about an hour. The whole time back, they just keep pouring drinks. It's either, like those Jamaica, fruit punch, knock you on your ass type of drinks, or it was Red Stripe on tap.
Okay. Oh, on tap on the beer or on the boat?
Yeah. And I think we'd have to look it up, but I think Red Stripe's probably down there in the, the 4% or something.
Right.
Something really light.
Sure.
I kid you not, I drank 8 Dixie cups on the way back of Red Stripe. I think I drank the first 4 or 5, my wife said, in the first 15 minutes. Because one, it was a little hot, so I wanted something cold and wet.
Sure.
But they went down so smooth. I mean, I don't know if it's just so many 8, 9, and 10%, beers that we drink on the show, but yeah.
Well, that's what I'm wondering with us. Typically, Pigeon especially, that it would, it'd be nice to have him on here, and we could probably ask him next week, because he's up usually in that 10% alcohol range with his beer selections, and it seems like he does typically go out of his way to find higher alcohol content beers when he does pick his. And I'm just wondering, how some people used to say like having a Guinness is like a meal.
Yep.
I think the higher alcohol content beers are more in that meal realm than what the Guinness is technically. Like if you're sitting and drinking, it's kind of like, okay, this has a little bit more bite to it. It's got a little bit more, of that alcohol kind of flavor to it.
I don't know. I would probably argue that it didn't have the fullness effect of like a stout or the Guinness.
Right.
But I know what you're saying. Drinking that much of a higher alcohol kind of, you tend to slow down and not drink as much of it.
Right. And I mean, I guess you can do that with the higher alcohol in comparison. But I'm just wondering, for like you're saying with the, the nice hot days when you're just looking for a beer, it's, should these craft brewers be taking that into consideration and getting back down into like the Budweiser, Coors, and Miller 3.5 to 4% alcohol beers? Or is this just like, was that something that they were just kind of watering down and the craft brewers are kind of
sure they're
giving
out
something
there.
that's not?
I mean, I'm sure they're out there, and I think maybe, and we're going on year 2, so I mean, maybe as we get through the spring and summertime now, we'll start to really lock in on some of the lighter craft beers, and we'll start to notice some of the lower alcohol contents. But I know Pigeon's thing too is he really likes his Belgium, his Belgium ales and his triples and his quads. I mean, right there, that puts you in that 10% bracket.
Sure.
He's always busting my chops, but you don't see him going out and getting the farmhouse saisons or the pilsners or something like that.
Right.
So it could have a lot to do with the style of the beer, puts you into that percentage too.
Okay. All right, let's move into some movie talk. Since it looks like you're the only one who watched movies, what did you watch this past week?
So I went and saw something I think we both really had high. Actually, all three of us had on our list. Went and saw Rogue One, Star Wars story.
Nice. And?
It was really good. I mean, I always say movies are really good or they're okay. And it always seems like I have a little different level of, what's okay to me versus other people. I just go and try to enjoy a movie for entertainment and for fun. If it's really corny or dumb, that's when I'm gonna say the movie's it was okay, or I'll even say it's not that good. This was really good to me. This was up there. Again, our age, we kind of came into the era of The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi when we were younger.
Sure.
So we have that nostalgic feel. This movie was the perfect link to me for episode 3, which was Revenge of the Sith, and linked up to A New Hope. And I won't give anything away for the movie, but I'll just say that the Rogue One ended literally on the scene of Vader pursuing Leia's ship.
Oh wow, okay. I was actually going to ask, because it wasn't exactly part of the storyline that we know, right?
Well, it is. I mean, it's not spoiling anything
But none of the characters.
Yeah, none of the characters are there, but everybody knows the story revolves around the plans for the Death Star.
Right, so it's more of the overarching story than it is the life stories of what we followed with like Han Solo, Luke Skywalker.
Exactly.
And,
this
Darth
is
Vader
doing
and stuff.
This is doing like no character development, I guess you would say.
Right.
This is what happened to Darth Vader at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and hey, let's introduce the key component to episode 4 with A New Hope when it starts.
Okay.
And it's like, hey, we're just going to talk about the Death Star.
So
I mean, that's really
Vader is in it though.
He's in it, and they show that in the preview. So
okay.
I'm not spoiling
Right.
anything with that. But there's I definitely want to go see it again, but I'm not going to pay the $32 or whatever the hell it cost
Sure,
me.
yeah.
And that was just for tickets.
Did we get some Palpatine too, or no?
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
But between the soda and the popcorn and the movie tickets, we're just gonna buy it when it comes out.
Right.
And there are many, many little Easter eggs and tributes to the original Star Wars in there. So to me, that was the most exciting part. I'm trying to take in the story and the characters, but the camera's literally going through markets and hideouts and stuff like that, and you see little props or characters that you're like, oh, that guy, or I know that helmet, or you know what I mean? There's just so many things. You could probably watch it 3 or 4 times and pick up something new each time.
Sure, yeah. All right, and movie news, Ben Affleck has restated that he'll direct the upcoming DC solo film, The Batman. What do you think?
Now,
I mean, it's a solo film, so it's not going to have any of the additionals. Do you think that combining Superman with Batman in the last one was kind of the downfall, or do you think it was more of the directing?
I don't think it was a downfall. I mean, I think that movie was fine from an entertainment point of view. I mean,
in comparison to like The Dark Knight's fine?
A little more bubbly, I guess is the term. The Dark Knight was more darker tone, serious to me, where I think Batman and Superman was a little bit more colorful in the realm of like a Marvel movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
that lighter, yeah, definitely. Okay.
A little lighter, a little, Now, the Batman, I think we talked about it one show, and Pigeon might even have talked about it, but I know it was up in the air that Affleck was saying that he was not sure or committed to directing that solo film, but I guess now he's reiterated that he is doing it. I mean, you tell me your input. I'm pretty sure he did Gone Girl. I think Gone Girl was amazing. I liked the movie The Town that he did.
Mm-hmm.
I think the guy's a really good director. I mean, as far as his acting, that's up for dispute. But I know the movies he's directed. I mean, for God's sakes, him and Matt Damon did, they wrote the screenplay and everything for Good Will Hunting.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, those, I haven't seen Gone Girl. I know you've told me to watch that, and
it's really good. I think you and Whiskers would like it a lot.
The Town. I'm wondering, because those are kind of, I don't want to say just full-on drama, but I'm wondering if he's going to have that kind of director's eye for a comic book type of storyline and not make it too much of a...
I think those 2 movies, though, show that he can hook you in and keep you attentive to character development.
Okay.
So I think you keep that in mind, and I think talking about Bruce Wayne could be a really good gig for him.
Right. Okay. All right. TV talk. What'd you watch this past week?
Watched. I think. Well, I mean, obviously we binged and we finished Hunting Hitler. We are totally caught up on Oak Island, so we watched the most recent Oak Island. Like we kid around each week. That damn show. They show a gold coin and it keeps everybody hooked.
Oh, is that the piece of metal that they were saying they found at the bottom?
Yeah, well, no, they found the coin somewhere else on the island, so now we're all excited about other areas.
Okay, because I was watching a commercial and they're like, there's something metallic down here. Can't really see what it
exactly.
is. Okay.
Man in the High Castle, we watched one episode of that, and we watched one more episode of Alone, because I do like my bushcraft.
Anybody
like the
drop out?
I'm trying to think of who.
What was it? It was 12 the last time I think I caught it.
Oh. No, it starts with 10.
Okay, so it was...
Starts with 10 and they're down to 7.
Okay, so that's what it was 8
Maybe
then.
they're at 6, but...
The one that I saw was the that like hippie chick kind of teased that she was going to leave.
Yeah, that's the one we saw. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the most recent one. She got Laura all pissed off because Laura... Remember last year the guy who could like...
Yeah, that's what I was saying to Nicole. I'm like, this is the same situation, and then it was a tease.
Well,
she just made that sweat hut and everything else. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Well, there were 2 people last year. There was the guy who created games, and built a full-on kitchen, and he quit because he was bored. And then there was the guy who was in the steam hut with the man bun that clock, punched out because he didn't think it was enough of a challenge for him.
Yeah.
So then the hippie girl starts acting the same way about this,
I've had enough, I've reached the apex of like my experience for this, and
I'm like, fuck you and your apex. $500,000.
Oh, is that what it is? It's $500,000?
They get $500,000 if they're the last one.
Okay. All right. Damn. All right. I think I was telling Whiskers. I thought it was a full mill.
So how about you? What did you get in TV wise? Because I know you didn't watch any movies.
Yeah. No, I watched Hunting Hitler, season 2.
Are you finished?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's all about South America. It seems like kind of.
I think you can safely say that whether he actually lived or not, South America was where they all went to.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Like, I think that the one, like the crashed plane in that beach resort area in Spain, was a little, I don't want to say reaching, but it seemed like it was a little reaching.
But they dismantled it and took the whole plane away within 2 days.
Right, but they said there was only 5 people on the plane, so I'm like, okay, that wasn't his actual landing, and it seemed like they skipped over after the fact of, okay, well, maybe that was a test flight landing for how to get in on the beach here, and Hitler came after, and I'm just like, I think you're reaching a little bit with that. So I don't think they've still completely figured out how he got out of Germany and where he went to.
Well.
And then how he left out of there. I mean, they got into that Denmark area. In Denmark?
I think he went the route of Denmark with the Luftwaffe.
Right, okay.
With the private airfield.
Yeah, that was that one that was he landed just the very northwest point of Germany and then kind of drove into Denmark from there?
He did something like that, but I think, I mean, my gut is I don't think it was Bormann. I think Hitler definitely was in that log cabin on the lake. That looked down the lake to the nuclear island with the scientists and the gun bunker. I think.
And that the tower and stuff.
Yeah, and that majestic tower thing. I think without a doubt that cabin was his.
That other compound that's in Chile, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think the Chile one that was kind of like out in the jungle area or whatever. I think
that compound that's like a resort now that you can go and visit.
Oh, that place was ridiculous.
That was pretty interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think he definitely. I'm just curious to know, like, what was his final demise? Like,
No, I know. That's what I'm hoping we find out.
Exactly. I'm really curious to know. Same with Bormann. Like, although I think they said Bormann died of like natural cause. I want to know
if they said something like stomach cancer or something.
Yeah, did Hitler die of a natural cause disease? Because I think he did have some other kind of disease too. Or I keep saying to my wife that I think one of the reasons a lot of these documents are declassified now is one because it's like the JFK files. They reach that 50 or 60 year window where they start to declassify things.
Mm-hmm. Or they
I'm curious if the CIA did actually finally catch up to him and he was secretly killed. And she's like, well, why didn't they just tell everybody then? And I'm like, well, because that would have been looked at as a failure.
Yeah. Especially because they told everybody that he was dead in the original bunker.
Yeah, exactly. Like World War II ended. It ended on a high note for us. I mean, because we won the war.
Right.
But it ended because everybody assumed he died. Everybody assumed that was the end of the Reich. To be like, oops, he got away and we didn't kill him until the 60s. I think they just kind of wanted to keep history how it was.
Yeah.
What else did you check out?
I also watched a few Magicians.
Okay.
And Incorporated.
Now, was that your first run through on the Magicians? Or I thought you were watching that last year with me.
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
and I'm excited for season 2.
Real quick, Whiskers and I kind of are catching up on some Gotham as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But Incorporated is actually, she and I just started watching that. I don't know if you know about that at all.
I saw the previews and we actually almost started it.
It's really cool,
and I want to check it out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's
okay.
I mean, just I mean, some of the futuristic looking things that they do, like the CGI things, like just kind of an intro. And this is going to spoil a little bit, maybe of the first episode, but it's just a small part of it. Like the storyline of the show is the major corporations kind of took over ownership of the world,
control everything, yeah.
Right, and everything else. They're technically technically referred to as like the green zone, and everything else of people who don't work for the corporations that are kind of fending for themselves, they are the red zone.
Okay.
So, like the people who work for those corporations live in these areas, kind of in like the burbs.
Okay.
And they're these big policed kind of burbs. Like
just ultra secure utopias.
Right.
Yeah.
So they drive out, and then it looks like they're driving down this great like highway, and like and like with these beautiful green pastures on either side. As they're driving towards like their big building, and then like the camera picks way up off of the guy's car and kind of zooms away. And it's these huge, like TV walls along either side of the highway that are projecting this greenery, and it's really this like it looks like Newark and like the worst portion of Newark, where after like a big, kind of like blast happened, everything's dead looking and it's gray and brown, and it's on just like the other side of the wall, but they like kind of pretty up just the drive on the highway for the people who actually work for these corporations. It's kind of crazy looking.
So it's like a not a full blown, but kind of post apocalyptic type of.
Yeah, it's not apocalyptic. I guess it is because they say it was based off of the global warming and what's going to actually happen from that.
Gotcha.
And, kind of the demise of the world from its effects. But
that really said too, reminder: make sure we watch The Road for our homework assignment.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I forgot about that. All right, it's like I said, watched Honey Hitler, Incorporated Magicians, and some Gotham. So, into some TV news. American Horror Story renewed through season 9. Season 7 starts later this year.
I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this.
No? Do you think the show can come back? Bring you back, I should say, Kelk?
It brought me back half of this year. I mean,
but what happened?
We talked about that weird flip they did, which I think was really brilliant the way they did that.
But you were enjoying the first half better.
But I really enjoyed, exactly. I enjoyed the first half. I liked the flip, but I didn't like the reality TV spin that they put on it. Again, I didn't finish the show. I don't, maybe it carried some of that, American Horror charm, and it's still good. But I think
it definitely carried gore.
Yeah, and I thought Pigeon said he finished it too, and it was kind of So
Whiskers and I did, and it was decent. It wasn't. Okay. I don't want to say it was bad. It was definitely better than some of the other seasons that I'd seen, I think personally. Okay. But I'm trying to think of where they can go from here.
Where would you put it up against the others? I mean, I still think the first season's the best.
Oh yeah, definitely, hands down, that's the best season. I'd probably put it in, if I had to rank from like first to last for the first or for the 6. I'd probably put it in like the 4 range, 3-4.
Okay.
Not against the 4th or 3rd season, just in that one or the first season being the very best and.
Yeah, you think it's middle of the road.
Yeah, middle of the road for as good as it was. Personally speaking.
That's because the first half was really good.
No, it's funny because I didn't like the first half. I didn't like that they were going kind of with that reality TV, like these actors are kind of just playing from the. I'm like, I'd rather see the reality of it and kind of get involved in like the storyline instead of the reality TV. I just hate reality TV personally, but
yeah.
Anyway. So that was my thoughts. But what would it have? Where would it have to go next season for you to come back?
I would be totally down with a spin on the horror movies or the premises of Wrong Turn, like basically the movie Wrong Turn, like West Virginia style, or even like Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a wrong turn type of element.
You don't think they should go historic again, like they kind of did for the what was that, the Asylum one? The second season? Wasn't that kind of like a history or like a historic kind of where they were doing those medical tests on the inmates and stuff?
Yeah, but I think they need to get back to that more just old-fashioned horror roots, or a wrong turn premise could be really hard to drag a whole season through.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up, late 70s, early 80s. I would not mind seeing a throwback to like a sleepaway camp,
That's what
like
I was thinking. Like a Jason
like a
type of
horror,
thing.
yeah, like a mix of Friday the 13th and the actual sleepaway camp horror movies with,
Right.
the summer camp and the kids, or the counselors and some really creepy, crazy shit going on.
Right, okay.
That I think that would be really cool to do for American horror.
Probably make it more difficult for you to get your son to go camping with you then.
Yeah, well, he doesn't watch those shows. So.
All right, give me a review on your Pilsner. What do you think?
It's a yay. It was a little dry and hoppy the first couple sips.
Mm-hmm.
Once I got the hang of it, it's got a nice smooth dry finish. I could keep putting it down. Like I said, for some reason, I don't know if the beer store, it just wasn't cold for me. On the cover of it, it's got a bunch of Adirondack chairs, and they're saying it's, like a smooth summertime refreshing beer. So I definitely could see us like hanging out in the summer, putting away a
For
couple
some
of
reason,
these.
those lighter beers, I always think they taste better like ice cold.
Exactly.
I don't know why.
Exactly.
It's-
I will give him this though. It not being as ice cold, I definitely tasted more of the floral taste to it.
Okay, all right. Food pairing?
Again, got me thinking summertime. So, either like some sort of chicken vegetable kebab on the grill would probably go really good with this.
All right, so kebabs. Sounds good. All right, well, let's get a refill. Oh, sorry, I didn't say mine. Yeah, I'm a yay on this. Worldwide Set. I think I've had it before on the show, and I've said the same. It's tasty. You can definitely taste and feel the alcohol content on this beer, but it's not overwhelming. Like I personally feel of the 120 IPA with that really high alcohol in it.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more alcohol-y or flavor wise, a lot more burn than the Worldwide Stout is, and I totally recommend. If you haven't tried it,
Stout's got that smoothness going for him too. So
yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of that porter type of dark. I don't want to say coffee flavor, but it's a little bit more. Because stouts, in my mind, are usually a lot smoother than like what a porter would be. Porter has but maybe that's the alcohol portion of it. It's given that kind of porter bite, kind of dry, like rough feeling, I guess. Yeah, regular stouts are usually smooth, so it's a good mix. It's a little pricey, $10 a bottle, but if you get a chance, you should check it out.
All
right, let's get another beer, and we'll be back with Let's Talk Games.
Hey, if you want to email us at theloadedcouch@gmail.com or tweet us at theloadedcouch, maybe we'll send something in return. You can download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud.
All right, we're back with Let's
Talk
Games.
Games.
I thought you were going to leave me hanging. All right, did you switch up your beer?
No, I'm actually working on I got a 6-pack of the Nooner, so.
Okay. Yeah, I've been slowly buying a bunch of the Worldwide, so actually I'm still finishing the second half of the first one that I have, so I'm just going to stick with that.
Okay.
But all right, let's jump into some games that you played this past week, and it looks like you and I are twinsies. So why don't you tell us what we played?
Yeah, we had a lot of co-op. Well, co-op going with we got back on the Diablo 3 bug.
Yeah. And I think it had something with you selling the update.
Yeah, and we kind of blitzkrieg through the old 16-bit or 8-bit overlay Diablo.
Oh, just as an explanation for that,
mm-hmm.
My sister-in-law, I asked her, and she was here for the weekend for her birthday.
Okay.
And then like she had been playing Overwatch for a bunch with Jonas and stuff.
Okay.
And then she's like, okay, you can play or whatever, and she handed the controller to me. And she's like, I'm kind of done. So then I started playing Diablo, and Nicole's like, well, instead of Lexi just sitting here watching you play Diablo, why doesn't she play with you? And she was like, okay. So she jumped in, and I had just asked her about that, the 8-bit playthrough of the dungeon.
Uh-huh.
And so when you joined in and we were kind of just running through, I had already kind of turned the difficulty down because her character was a little bit lower level than what I was, and And then she's like, yeah, I just kind of played this morning, so this is kind of boring for me. That's why I was just kind of running through it when you joined in.
Yeah, that's fine anyways
I wanted
because
to go back and do it again, though.
yeah,
Slower
yeah,
and search everything out.
yeah. I mean, we could and crank it up a little and see if I still don't know for sure if you get any specific
I
item
think she said at
drops
the
or
end you get something specific when you beat the final boss.
okay, so yeah, maybe worth checking out again to run through it.
Right.
But yeah, Diablo 3. I mean, it's been what, a couple years now. The game just keeps hooking you every time.
It's so easy to play. That's the problem.
It plays so smooth with a controller too.
Right.
I mean, that's
And it's
that's
easy
really
to
the
just
thing.
jump back in. It's not like, oh man, I got to get my hand-eye coordination back up for these people who are going to be better than me when it's no, it's
Yep.
none of that.
Yeah, you just steamroll enemies. You want to crank up difficulty. Yeah, it was a good time, and we got back into it. Jim was on. Pigeon's brother was also on, so we got a little 4-player action
Mhm.
going. We both, I think it's safe to say, are heavily involved in The Witcher 3.
Yeah, I've actually stopped playing Steep. I went to start Watch Dogs the other day, Watch Dogs 2, and I went back into The Witcher. I was like, let me not play this. I'll just get back into The Witcher again.
Yeah, it's really good. Unfortunately, because of life, life and family and work, I'm not one of those people that can sit there. I think maybe my personality too. I can't sit there and devote, an 8-hour day into a game anymore, really.
Right.
But this game, I think there's been a couple 6 o'clock at night romps, and even on the weekend, I think I got a good 3 or 4 hour run in playing it. It's good. I mean, once you start to really understand the story and the crafting and the alchemy, uh, it pulls you in. I mean, it's very daunting and scary if you get lost in the weeds and go off on all the side
Yeah,
missions.
especially because when you use your Witcher sense and you see all those little white blobs of things that's out there that you're like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to fight that, and my
Yeah.
sword's already half broken,
Yep.
and I don't want to have to spend my money on fixing that, and yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm trying my best to stick to the straight and narrow. I want to see if I can get through the main story. I've heard it takes about 60 hours to beat the main story.
Okay.
I do see all these like side quests and second quests where I need to be level 10, 12, 14. And right now I think I'm pushing level 6.
Okay.
6 or 7. I think it's 6. And my only fear is if I stay on the straight and narrow and I do the main story, is it going to make the game get very difficult for me towards the end because
Right, you're not leveling up with the side
I'm not
stuff.
leveling up with the side stuff.
Yep.
I mean, is that what they intend? Is that like, am I kind of, hurting myself down the road?
See,
What are your
that
thoughts?
plays into a question I was going to actually bring up. You and I had been talking about, the backlog of games that we have, and you had even mentioned the moving forward, you were just going to drop a lot of the difficulties on the games that you're playing down to easy, just to get them through, so you can kind of start chipping away some of the backlog games that you have.
Yep,
Just to get through the story, so you could talk about it and stuff, and say, okay, I did play that game. It's not just sitting there wasting money. Is this playing fast enough for you? And like you had just said, if you're with that concern and the possibility of having to add in some additional side quest
It's
time, is it going to be too long of a game for you to finish, you think?
Well, I think it gives a little pat on the back to how well of a story it is. It's definitely teetering on a little too slow for me.
Okay.
I think that's why I stopped the first time through, because I just quickly lost interest.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm getting some of those 2 to 3 hour play sessions in on it, where I can start to really take in the story and the characters. I mean, the crones, I won't, obviously a lot of people
Those
have played
things.
this game already, but like the crones and
You like the one with the legs coming out the front of her, didn't you?
yeah, the legs coming out the bottom of her skirt or whatever. Little Jimmy, or or did you meet the frog boy in the
Yep.
woods?
I have to go
Right,
get his voice back.
Yeah, so I mean, like, stuff like that is like really cool and really pulling me in, but it is teetering on a little too slow for me. And you know, I did mention to you about knocking things down to easy. I think the other night I even talked about I might just hold and not play any more Witcher right now, because I was saying maybe I can knock out like my Tomb Raiders and my Gears of War and some of those other ones and do the 6, 8, 10 hour games versus commit another 40 hours still.
Yeah.
To, you know, to The Witcher, because the backlog is just it's.
Now on that, and I don't want to drag this out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they could have charged more for a game like Witcher than they should be charging with games like you mentioned, kind of, you know, the Tomb Raiders and, you know, the Gears of War and stuff like that, if they have a shorter storyline in comparison to like Witcher has like a 60-hour storyline? Do you think they should be able to charge more? I mean, it seems like it's a lot more story and gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, that gets into, I mean, you're opening a can of worms with that argument. I think the 60.
I don't want to pay any more money.
I know. I think the $60 games are definitely the juicy price. I think that's just about right. I would argue. I mean, I could see a little what you're saying. The Witcher 3 could have maybe been a. I don't want to say episodic, but you probably could have easily
made it into 2.
Yeah, you could have split it in some manner. And at least maybe the route that Blizzard does with, you know, when Diablo comes out with an expansion, it's a pretty solid expansion, you know, so maybe The Witcher 3 could have been a $60 game, you know, coming in right at a 40-hour game. And then you get a $20 or $30.
So maybe say like a third of the side missions or 2/3 of the side missions as an expansion.
Yeah, or not even the side missions, but maybe you get half of those side missions plus another solid 20-hour of main story gameplay. Again, they did everything right with that game. I mean, it's such a good game, from story to graphics to, you know, the scale of the world. I mean, for God's sakes, I found love boating, you know, going out on a sailboat.
Yeah.
It's so.
I mean, I haven't hit anything where the boat's fallen apart on me yet, so I can't say that I've had that you know, experience. But yeah,
but it's really hard to say, because I do enjoy games too where I play them for what Titanfall 2, perfect example. That was a 6 to 7 hour campaign. One of the best campaigns I've ever played. And I was happy with, you know, that time frame. So,
but again, to get the money reasons out of it, which we've kind of talked about before, should they offer that with the multiplayer option where, you know, you pay $30 for the campaign, you pay another $30 for the multiplayer, or you just spend $60 and you get both?
Yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, I know we always do talk about that. You could do like a $40 campaign and a $29.
Because then it would make Witcher kind of like all right, well, Witcher's a 60-hour game, so yeah, the $60 is completely understandable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even Titanfall 2, you split it. You have, like I said, $40 campaign and a $30 multiplayer. That puts you at $70. Are you better off just paying the $60 to get them both? So
right. Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah,
all right. Things to think about, things to talk about. We'll talk about more about that. Yeah, if you guys that are listening have any input on that and you want to disagree with us completely, please let us know at theloadedcouch@gmail.com, or you can tweet us at theloadedcouch. All right, moving on. Sony news. Sony has revealed the first color variant for the new slim version of the PS4. Glacier White. Why is it they can only make these damn consoles in white and black?
White's pretty sexy looking. I mean, I'm actually digging this white PS4.
Well, yeah, but why do they only make consoles in white and black? I mean, PS, what was that? The original PS was gray?
Oh, the new Xbox, the One S, there's different variants. I don't know if you really kept up with it, but they have a, not Laguna Seca blue, but more of like a muted gray blue. And it was that the Ford GT.
Oh, that was the Forza though, right?
That was the Forza edition, and then they have that olive green for the Battlefield edition.
Right, but this is just like basics. This isn't like a themed one.
Yeah. But those other ones, I mean, the Xbox ones, the only theming they really did with it was they gave you a free copy of the game.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, sorry, not themed, maybe bundled. It's a bundled option.
Yeah, but
they had the Gears of War one too, right?
Yeah, but I mean, what other colors? I mean, you obviously
I don't
you
know, maybe you want to make it
wouldn't
like
make
a wood green.
they make vinyl skins for the consoles,
You
I
can
think.
get one like a walnut or one like a like a
They-
maple or a poplar.
little burl walnut there with a little high gloss polish. Yeah.
Exactly. Come on, it's like a showpiece. Maybe you can get one that's made out. It has like a mirror in it. I don't know. I'm just
Look like a
ridiculous.
1970s VCR.
But it's just like PlayStation used to
Super
have
8.
that gray color for like
Yeah.
what was that? The original PS, and then
I think they had a special limited edition PS4 I think last year, right? Wasn't Pigeon thinking about buying it? Was that the original PS4 gray or PlayStation gray, like you said?
I don't remember. I know he
I
got
thought,
the headphones that are that color. They're like
yeah,
a
I think there was
throwback.
a very limited run on that PlayStation being the gray color, and I think he gave it a good thought and was afraid his wife would castrate him. So
Well, it's like I remember the original PlayStation was gray. The GameCube was like a blue. And I'm just wondering why they've kind of like just established that black and white is like the way to go now. And is it just because of the TV colors?
I don't know. The new Switch looks like it's graphite.
Hmm. Yeah, again, like a dark gray color. Just get something different. I don't know. But Glacier White. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. I $249, some holiday special. I'd pick one up.
No, you wouldn't, you liar. You hate PS4. All right, speaking of PS4, The Flame and the Flood comes to PlayStation 4. Publisher Curve Digital announced today. PS4 users get the game in the form of the Complete Edition, which features director's commentary, a dynamic theme, 2 avatars, and a host of gameplay tweaks.
Yeah, this we really got to get back on it.
I don't
Hence
have
the backlog. It's on the Loaded Couch account.
Oh, okay, all right. So I do have it. I just
You
haven't
do have
touched it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're sitting on like 10 games in that
Ugh,
account too.
yes,
So.
yeah, we are, especially after the big sale at the end of the year.
Yeah, so the problem is real. We we've got a lot of playing to do.
All right, so Flame in the Flood, PS4, definitely.
Yeah,
Something to pick up.
think it's good. I mean, it's good for PlayStation. They should have every right to play it. I know there's a new game called Rhyme also coming out. I think it was just announced. It's coming to Xbox. Same situation. It was supposed to be a PS4 exclusive. Now it's coming to Xbox, and same with this Flame in the Flood. Came out first with Microsoft. Now
Yeah.
it's going to PlayStation.
All right, you have full release to go ahead and read this first Microsoft news thing since you called it.
All right. Scalebound. Scalebound is officially canceled.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it was a couple weeks ago. We were just shooting the shit like off show with what we were thinking some of the big predictions for the year were going to be, and I remember I was like, well, you guys want to hear a bold one? I got it. And I said that Scalebound game is going to get canceled.
Yeah.
And
I think Pigeon first said no. No, maybe he didn't. I can't remember. I was going to say, I thought I agreed with him that there wasn't, just because of how much that we've seen from it thus far.
yeah,
I just didn't think it was happening. But yeah, you called it. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Microsoft has removed mentions of Scalebound from its website and removed all trailers of the game from its primary YouTube channel. It's
Wow.
crazy. All right, entries for other canceled Microsoft exclusives such as Fable Legends and the Phantom Dust remake can still be found on both its website and YouTube channels.
I think this was I mean, having worked in games slightly before and now working in software development, I think this was a case of Platinum, right? It's Platinum Games.
Mhm.
They must have missed a lot of milestones. They must have had quite the arguments back and forth and got more time or more leadway to do something and just couldn't meet the promises they were laying out. And I think finally somebody did an office visit and was just like, we're pulling the plug on this thing. We just more of a case of, I mean, put yourself in the shoes of being, the boss of Microsoft as far as like publishing. Would you want something half baked coming out? That
No, but I don't know if I'd want the lost money either.
well, exactly. I mean, that's the pickle.
I mean, how many, not to get into this earlier or not, but how many games does Microsoft have releasing this year thus far that we know of?
I think maybe just a handful.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean,
and
are they holding? Yeah, we'll get into that later, but yeah, I don't know. Do you give them more time? I mean, I know they made promises and stuff, but it seems like there was a bunch of people that were super interested in the game.
no, I mean, let's talk about it now. We'll knock it out now because we still got some Nintendo talk, and
Okay.
I think the problem is Microsoft is starting to concern me, not scare me, but just concern me with the focus on the big three, the Halo, the Gears, and the Forza. I understand they're the money makers. I don't know if I know Forza does like every year because they're on that cycle now with the Horizons one year and Forza the other year. And I think they even said Halo was going to be on like a 3-year cycle. Gears, we just got Gears 4, and I know they're trying to pretty much relaunch that IP with the new characters. I really think they should. I don't know if they said it once in an article, but I think they should take the approach of evaluating the types of IPs they have and finding games to fit that.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the thing of sometimes you just gotta let something go.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't just continue forever. I mean, you gotta reinvent something every once in a great while.
And then I also question the people in charge from the marketing side of, like, I think a game like Recore,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a game like Sunset Overdrive. I think they did quite a big push on Sunset Overdrive, but I think a game like Recore,
Maybe Ori.
yeah, Ori. I mean, Ori should have had commercials. Like, I mean, I'm talking prime time fill spots.
I mean,
of
for the amount
commercial.
of effort that they put into that E3 presentation for Ori, yeah, it definitely should have had a lot more advert going to it.
Exactly. And when you watch that presentation at E3, yeah, that was a hell of an experience for the people that were there.
Yeah, with the lights
But
going out and everybody's white lights glowing to make it look like the star. Yeah, it was
but your
interactive and inclusive.
average people, the public, didn't watch E3's press conference.
Right.
And here it is. You have an IP and a character that's adorable and cute, could totally, be adopted by, young girls. Not saying, I won't try to say that Ori's in the same ballpark as, Mario and stuff like
Or
that.
maybe a Crash, or I mean,
But here's an IP and a platformer character that I just think they dropped the ball on. They dropped it on Ori. I think they should have held Recore out for maybe a little bit more, another 6 months, and tuned it up a little bit more and did another big marketing push. I mean, Jewel in that game is another IP. There's no reason why Jewel couldn't be now. That's probably more like your Crash Bandicoot or something because of the 3D platformer.
right.
The controls are super smooth in it. Yeah, I'm just really concerned with the meetings that those people have where they say, well, it's something new, how much money do we really want to put into it, rather than somebody in that room needs to stand up and say, this is an IP we, in an area we don't have games, we feel really confident on this, and let's swing for the fence and push it hard.
Well, do you think it's an uphill battle? Because Phil came out at E3 saying that they were really focusing on games now because Microsoft has finally seen the light of how much the Xbox is actually worthwhile. And it seems to me like they've kind of just taken the mentality that the Xbox is kind of their introduction into the living room. They've finally gotten in there, and it seems like the computer realm of things is just kind of taking over. They're like, okay, we have a new box that controls everything, and we're just going to keep focusing more on that than they are of the actual gaming that Phil's been promising.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's. I mean, what you're saying is maybe they're spreading themselves too thin.
No, I'm thinking maybe they're just thinking too much because they're making it super easy app reasons with like the Windows interface. getting everything up on the TV that you want, like any of the history apps and the sci-fi apps and the, Netflix, YouTube, all that stuff, making it interactive where you're using the Xbox more for multimedia than you are for gaming. And I'm thinking that they're thinking that way, and the parent company of Microsoft as a whole is kind of dictating it more than the gaming that Phil promised, saying that Microsoft has finally seen the benefits or the value in what Xbox brings to the table for gamers, and then sticking with that. And it just seems like that's kind of fallen to the wayside again.
Well, I think that could just be a perception we have because they have tried going to games, with the Sunset Overdrive, the Ori, the Recore. I know I'm missing one or two other big ones that they came out with that weren't so hot, but they still were decent games.
Right.
Quantum Break.
Right.
And now I think Quantum Break, there's like that fine line too between the first party and the second party, they call it. So I think like Quantum Break and Sunset Overdrive were second party. They were basically Rise, Son of Rome. They were games where the IP was owned by the company that created them, but Microsoft published them.
Sure.
So where some of the first party ones, like where Ori's owned by Microsoft, I believe. So you have that, and I know there's a whole money issue there too. But again, I just think some of these things are like voids in their catalog that they could have really pushed hard and try to get more things out. Like, and again, whoever's working for the company, maybe hunting and searching for that next big it game. We just talked about The Witcher 3. Like you have, I almost think like you have a studio I know Sony's really good with their IPs. Them and Nintendo. Sony has The Last of Us and God of War. I think Microsoft really needs something besides their just Gears of War. They need that big open world game, and I thought Scalebound could have been it. I mean, when I first saw that, I pictured James Cameron Avatar, flying dragons in a massive world. I mean, imagine if Scalebound was set into the scope and scale of The Witcher.
Yeah, like I was again in the open world thing. I was almost thinking it was kind of more of a kind of like what you're saying with the James Cameron kind of Avatar feeling, but kind of like the World of Warcraft kind of feel as well, where you're kind of leveling yourself up, leveling your dragon up with you.
Mm-hmm.
But you're gonna
definitely
intermingle with others in the world and stuff. It'd be like
an RPG dragon in an open world.
Right.
I mean, and I think we all envision that, and I think the scope and scale was just way too big for what Platinum was delivering on their milestones, and that's why it got pulled. So I mean, to wrap it up, I'll say, like I said, I'm concerned for this year. Let's see what E3 does. I'm excited for Scorpio.
Yeah, do you think they're holding out a lot for that? Do you think they're
I hope so. I hope that's what it is. I mean, I hope so. I hope this is the year of, more games and, with Sea of Thieves and Crackdown.
But again, Sea of Thieves is in that situation where they're not advertising a whole lot of that.
That
could be a huge open world game for them.
I think you and I were talking, that's the game that could have the magnitude of impact of a game like Destiny. Two complete, one's sci-fi, one's a shooter, but this other one's a pirate game. But if they marketed and pushed that game correctly, that could be the type of game and experience that people haven't had that makes them say, I need to go buy an Xbox for this game.
Right. And I'm a little worried because I did watch some of the videos and stuff from the Sea of Thieves developers, and they have a podcast as well. Them saying that a lot of it, especially on the big boats, the big ships, is kind of group effort.
It is.
Because they said they have like the big map is down on like the first level. So you need somebody down there looking at the map. You need somebody up in the crow's stand and then somebody at the wheel. So it's like you almost need a minimum of 3 people with you while you're gaming. So I'm a little bit nervous about that. But I know that you had said previously that you saw something that there are small boats that can be singly manned.
They talked about smaller boats. And I think Destiny had success with their 3-man fire teams and the Division with their 4-man teams. And I think if they do it right, it can still work.
Right.
But no, I agree with you. There are some people that just don't like to play with others. and do that communication.
But then it
So,
seems like a lot. Well, I don't know if it's just because of our age or not, but you, myself, and Pigeon are ones that like to game with other people. So
Yeah.
I think that game could be great and huge, but it's just not getting the advert that it needs to. I think kind of like what you're saying.
nope, I agree.
All right, let's move on to some Nintendo news. It says game artist David Hellman pointed this out on Twitter, that the Nintendo Switch logo is not symmetrical.
The yang is off, huh?
Yeah, it looks to be. It's like the right, I guess you could say, joystick is almost mid placed on the right stick, where the left one is in the upper quadrant or the upper
Yeah, what
third.
do they call those things? Joy-Cons? Is that
Yeah.
what they were?
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it's like short for Joy Controller or something. I don't know.
So the right hand one is almost center, or located in the center of the controller, where the left one is located in like the top quadrant of the controller.
And I think that is representative of the real controller.
Yeah.
Because I did take notice in the trailer for the Switch, when you slide those controllers off and each person can have one separately as like a 2-player game.
Yep.
I did notice the thumbstick on the one was a little bit more centered than the other person had. So I'm curious, like, what's that going to feel like? Like, say you got the left side with the upper thumbstick and you flip that 90 degrees. You've got the perfect full-on left side thumbstick and the AB button on your right thumb.
Yep.
But now if I get the right side, I've got the thumbstick more towards the middle. And where's my 2 buttons?
From the size of it, I don't think it would be a huge concern. I think the reason that they placed it the way they did is not so much the single or the shared played usage. I think it's more of the single player user on like the game pad with the screen in the middle, where you don't want to be reaching down to the bottom the whole time.
Yep.
But yeah, I can see what you mean. It's kind of like you're always gonna have the guy. It's my console, so I get the one with the joystick located correctly. You always get the shit one. But
yeah, so I don't think it ever was intended to have that logo be symmetrical. I think it's just accurately representing what the controller is.
Right. Going back, I don't think I'd really give artist David Hellman huge, props for noticing it's not symmetrical. But again, whatever. Anyway. All right, estimated runtime for Nintendo Switch presentation. What do you think?
Well, let's see, we're about 45 minutes off from when we're recording this.
Right, and I guess they usually go about an hour. So what do you?
I don't know. I've never watched one of those Treehouse events. I mean, I don't know if you have, but I'm assuming this is going to be a good, just 60-minute type of presentation.
Yeah, the Treehouse ones are. They differ depending on the game and depending on what they're presenting. Sometimes they're a half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour. I don't think they ever really go over that hour time limit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're always interesting. So what do you want to see?
Well, let me make a bold prediction.
Okay.
I'll say it's not 60 minutes. I'm going to say it's going to be a 30-minute presentation.
Okay.
I'll go with 30 minutes. I think it's going to be short and sweet. What do I want to see? I want to see the new Mario game.
Okay.
I want to see them show. They've been showing the hell out of Breath of the Wild. I want to see the new Mario game, and I want to. Let me see. What do we got here?
Are there any games that you have for Xbox or PlayStation that you'd like to see how it looks on the Switch that would, kind of do that, making it a competitor? Something new.
Well, I mean, that's hard to say. I'm trying to think of something that's new, that's multi-platform.
Maybe like a Watch Dogs.
Ubisoft. Let's see Steep. Obviously, let's see him put Steep on there. Something from Ubisoft. I think you called it there. I mean, you could get a Watch Dogs. Something that's got to definitely flex some muscle to show the third-party support.
See, I don't think it's going to have enough processor power for something like a Dead Rising.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, what game do you think? Like, what do you want to see? And do you think it's going to be an hour long or 30 minutes or what?
I think it'll hit that hour because usually they do like the whole presentation and then afterwards they have like the people. If it is a treehouse, is that what it is? The treehouse presentation?
I don't know if it's exactly that, but I think it's going to be in the same manner.
Crap. They might be lucky if they hit an hour because I was gonna say usually they have commentary afterward with the people breaking down things about, and talking about them.
Yeah,
with a little bit more discussion about it and stuff. I'll just say an hour to be to go against or to give a difference. What do I want to see? I'd like to see what they're going to do to differ or recreate a new Splatoon.
Okay.
Because I mean, they showed the gameplay of Splatoon in the original released video for the what was it, the early release kind of teaser trailer.
Okay.
I'd like to see if they made any changes or if there's going to be something new or if it's kind of just, this is you playing the old Splatoon on the new system.
What would make you say right at the moment, I need to buy this?
I'm probably buying it day one anyway, or at least really close to day one. Would have to buy? Crap. Maybe either like a new Mario Kart that would only be available for that, or like a new, Smash Bros. That's only available for that.
I'll give some input here. I got a two-parter.
Okay.
If I watch this thing tonight, and it shows that it's got backward compatibility. I don't care how they do it. It's got backward compatibility, and it introduces finally a chat system equivalent to party chat.
They almost have to. I mean, even if they came out with an analog system that doesn't compete with like the Xbox, kind of like the original PS4, it sucks. It's horrible. Like when I've been like, Jimmy, you want to play some Mario Kart? He's like, yeah. But let's turn on the Xbox and we'll chat through that while we're talking, while we're racing. I'm like, that's so stupid. It's like, why have both systems running?
You right now, not being a big Nintendo person, but I do love their stuff. If it can give me backwards compatibility and I can party chat with my friends and play their games, I will definitely want to buy a Switch.
Oh, that I love. I love that you brought that up. That is one thing that I think is always amazing with their DSs. Is that they make some games that are group play.
Okay.
Like if I have Mario Kart 7 on my DS and I come over to visit you and you guys have a DS, you can download a few different boards and you can play with me even though you don't have the game.
Yep.
I love that. That would be awesome if they could do that because, I mean, they are kind of pushing this on like the DS model where they're showing it as a handheld device that can be brought and shared with friends. That would be incredible, I think, if they incorporate some of that with these, because I mean they showed on that video one group where they were all playing Mario Kart. I think it was Mario Kart, maybe it was Splatoon, but there was a group of 4 people. Two of the people had the Switch. It'd be really cool if you could do that game share and then have it be group play.
Okay, and then to wrap it up, what is something that hasn't been talked about or revealed that you want to see or predict?
That freaking Nintendo Club, that thing where it's like, these purchases and the things that you do. It's almost kind of like it's like almost like
reward
the Xbox
system.
Live. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I hope they do something like that.
Okay, I'm gonna say that they continue the sensor bar.
Oh, okay.
Just like the Wii U.
Yep.
Not on the magnitude of a Kinect or the Eye, but they're gonna have a sensor bar. For future possibilities. And I'm going to throw out a tribute to Pigeon here. I would love to see them bring back Duck Hunt for Nintendo Switch.
Nice.
With a gun accessory and some kind of hunting duck, a duck hunt game for Nintendo.
That'd be incredible. I also hope that Nintendo, this is just me hoping, just random, I don't know if it's going to happen ever. I hope that they continue to cater to getting people mobile and moving around.
Yes, and let me just the famous calc real quick. Let me tack on to that Duck Hunt because Pigeon again called this, Nintendo, if you're listening, with your mobile IPs, make your Duck Hunt game on the Switch also work on the touchscreen tablet.
That'd be cool. Maybe have like an infrared dot on one of the controllers that you could take off and point at the screen. Because there's going to be a front-facing camera. There is.
No, you could just tap it. Like imagine if
okay.
you could download Duck Hunt for $3 on your iPhone or your Android, and the ducks fly across the screen real fast or different ways, and you have to tap them quick. I mean, that's right. There you go.
That could work. All right. Multi-platform news. We got a lot to talk about in here, so let's get ready and let's get through this. Rocket League has over 25 million registered players, and it seems like our own Celk's son is one of them now.
Yeah,
he likes it.
He loves it. He's been begging me for months. Ooh, excuse me. He's been begging me for months, and it went on the sale. The big Xbox sale. And we're trying to teach him the value of money and stuff. So I told him. I said it's down to $10 if you want it. I actually made a bet with him, and I'm trying to remember what the bet was. But the bet was if he lost, he had to buy Rocket League with his own money.
Doesn't that suck? Getting older and you can't remember the freaking bets you make?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, and it wasn't something that was advantage to me by any means. But
sure.
It was. I think it was something on a TV show we were watching. I'm like, I'll bet you that this happens or that, and so he lost, and he had to buy it. But sure as shit, man, he stomped right to his room, grabbed $10, and handed it to me. He's like, I'm buying this game.
He wanted it anyway, so it wasn't really a losing situation. I got you.
Yeah, he's like, you were telling me when it goes on sale, I can get it. So yeah, he got Rocket League. He's actually getting pretty good at it. He's learned all these 90-degree cut moves and stuff that you can do, and he's getting pretty good at the jump.
See, I have it for PlayStation. I don't think I'd rebuy it for Xbox, but I wish I didn't, or I wish I had it on Xbox so that Jonas could play with Evan. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it's cool, but I think you and I talked about it once. It's one of those 30 minutes into it, and I'm kind of like, okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah,
it's not a FIFA. FIFA you can play for a little bit longer than that, but it is fun for what it is.
25 million's a lot of people. Congrats to them.
Lot. Yeah, definitely. All right, Mass Effect Andromeda. Resolutions. Sorry. Great more bickering over resolution. But what about the Scorpio? Do you think the resolution is going to be up for the PS Plus and the Scorpio?
Well, so they taught the little snippet we got here is PS4 is going to be, I guess, 1080p, and the Xbox One's going to go 900p, which
Xbox One, not the Scorpio.
Yeah, so
One
for
or
people,
1S?
The one, and I think it goes to both.
Okay.
For people listening, remember, Rise, Son of Rome was 900p, and it's still to this day is probably one of the best looking.
It had that upscaling through the processor, though.
Yep.
Right. But it did look amazing.
Looks amazing. Yeah, they're saying, I guess, there's going to be a slight resolution difference between the two of them, but I did see an article, too, where I think they said they had no plans or any work being done right now on adjusting it or fixing it, I guess you would say, for the Scorpio, which just totally baffles me because, it's really treating it no different than like a PC port. But again, it's all about resources and getting the game out.
If they're already making it 1080 for PS4, why is it not being so for the Scorpio? Since that machine can definitely handle it.
I don't know, but either way, the Mass Effects 1, 2, and 3, they're in my backlog. So, I mean, for the gameplay that I've seen, it looks really good. But when I'll actually get Andromeda, I couldn't say.
I gotta love Pigeon with his Andromeda. All right, Space Talk. Here's the one that's going to take a while. No Man's Sky, Astroneer, Everspace, Elite Dangerous, and more. What is ideal to us for a space game? Having played The Witcher now, the three of us actually, and pulled in for the long story versus, the shooters and the Minecrafts and stuff like that. What do we want from a space game that would make it ideal? Or what would be the key ingredient for the space game that we would end up buying it and playing it for a long time?
Well, I mean, I was really rough and harsh on No Man's Sky, only because when I saw that that coming out, it definitely fell into kind of what I was just talking about with Rocket League. It, visually it looks stunning, and the art style, but like, how long can you just fly around without really reward, I would say. I mean, it's cool to explore, and it's cool to see procedural generated, planets, but what's the reward? Like, what's the purpose of that? What do you think?
If they had a good villain or two, I mean, if you think about any of the space things that we watch, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Star Wars, the Star Trek, these space things, there's always a good and a bad, or the main character and his opponent. Depending on what side you're on, doesn't matter. I think it really needed that alien character, or at least more races to interact with that would randomly come after you, that would randomly come in and seize your property and drop you off at a random space station and be like, oh crap, they just completely took my ship and now I have to start from scratch again. You know what I mean?
So to interject then here, I think all of these, I mean, we did pick up Everspace. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. And Elite Dangerous has had so many updates that I heard it's fabulous now. And I've played a little bit of Astroneer. I think what you're saying then is we need a single player story with these.
You need the villain. That. I mean, you can have the villain in an open world kind of. Look at The Witcher. I mean, as you're going through the world, if you randomly venture into the woods, there's wolves and bears in there that can kind of kill you.
So you're saying more impacting NPCs that can alter your experience,
right? Even if it's like a villain race, like that's somebody who's kind of establishing themselves in space as well. But it's like an overall, just like a a Klingon type of thing,
I think maybe we definitely should try out Everspace, because I think that's one of the description I had heard was it was a rogue type of game with very similar to the premise of, you remember that Tom Cruise movie where he dies each day, like Groundhog's Day?
Yeah.
So I heard Everspace it's a flight sim. Space exploration RPG, that when you die from NPC encounters, like you said, villains, you start back, because you're actually a clone pilot. So when you die, the areas that you've explored are uploaded and always available to you for your next playthrough. And you also keep resources and revenue that was gathered from your previous clone. So it kind of is you explore and come encounters and NPCs and battles and fights, but it's not all lost when you die.
Right.
So, maybe we should try that out. Say Elite Dangerous has passenger and co-op exploration now. It's
like that No Man's Sky that you sent me. That was the one that they had that like flower-looking alien ship that came in, right?
No, that was the Elite Dangerous. So that was the first encounter with an alien in that game, because that's how big it is. Nobody's encountered an alien encounter yet.
And that's the thing. Like, I know when you get into, because you had kind of asked about this, I know when you get into space is so vast that the chances of meeting up with somebody else is going to be like, slim to none.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's kind of like a ridiculous thing to say, like, add that villain or that, that opponent kind of aspect to the game. But yeah, I think it is needed. Like, I mean, you saw, like the video that you sent me, you saw how excited those people got about seeing that alien race.
And so, I mean, I'll sprinkle it all in together. I think I'm going to agree with you. I think it needs villainous NPCs that can give you a challenge. I will go above and beyond, as I think all these games should have some sort of single player component to them, storyline wise, even if it's a 6 or 8 hour campaign. And then you're
there is technically an end to Elite Dangerous, isn't there?
I don't think there is, man. I think you can literally explore the universe.
It's just never okay.
And yeah, yeah. I would say campaign, NPCs, villains. I love The Witcher 3 with the RPG, the exploration, the storylines, that type of stuff, side quests. And then Astroneer, man, just the little bit of time I spent with it. It's Minecraft in space. It's so exciting to be able to mine down and find that cave. It's just that wow moment when I broke through the ground and my son and I came into a cavern. It was that same moment that you get in Minecraft when you discover a mine shaft.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right. So
yeah.
in the 4 that we've mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
No Man's Sky. What's that? What's that need?
I think it needs it. Well, it needed the crafting and building, which I believe it has now gotten.
Okay.
I think it's called the Builders expansion or something. They should have held out, and that game should have shipped with that from the start.
What's Astroneer need?
Well, it's like pre-alpha, so it needs a lot less bugs. It needs, I mean, it's got co-op. It's got co-op. It's a co-op Minecraft in space.
Well, it's like Elite Dangerous supposedly is co-op, but how easy is it to find your friend?
You start right from the star dock with each other, I believe. And you can actually go onto planets and rovers together now,
Was it No Man's Sky then that said that you start randomly?
No Man's Sky is random, and you have no way of finding your friends.
Okay, yeah, that was the one. Okay. I was like, that was the other thing I was going to mention. I was like, I know that one of them said you start randomly. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, can you imagine just flying forever, being like,
yeah,
I'm at this star base, please come and find me, and you just can't ever meet with your friend. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I think Astroneer, they add some form of I won't say mobs, but some kind of NPC element would definitely be icing on the cake for that game.
Okay, Everspace?
Haven't had a chance to try it out yet.
And Elite Dangerous.
I don't know if it's missing anything. Again, you have to pay for the DLCs though. That's the problem. So it has co-op, it has passenger exploration, it has rovers on planets, it has all that stuff now. I just, it's a little extra bank.
It just doesn't have the villain,
and it doesn't have the story mode. It doesn't have a campaign.
Right, okay.
So.
So you think the campaign is the seller?
I think it is. I think you give people a 6 or 8 hour engaging story, and they've completed that story. I mean, it's space.
Now I got a question. Do you think that's why Minecraft story mode did so well?
Yeah. I think they went in reverse. I mean, they
did totally go in reverse.
They took a universe and a world that everybody's imagination was limitless, and they said, "Hey, check this out. Here's a story in that world."
Right.
Where I think with the space games, you start with, here's your story and here's your campaign, and you've completed it, but guess what? Here's the rest of the universe. Go explore.
Keep checking it out. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Beer thoughts. Still the same? Still yay?
Yeah. It's
still chicken kebab?
Yeah, it's smooth and good. I highly recommend the Nooner from Sierra Nevada.
All right. Myself, I'm a yay. Still continuing with my worldwide stout. And we're going to get a new beer, hopefully. I don't know if Calc, he's got the 6-pack. So, but we'll be back with the Brown Breeze.
For more from the Loaded Couch, check us out on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook.
If you like me and would like to follow me on Twitter at Pigeon Pegleg, and also on Twitch, Pigeon Pegleg. Pigeon Pegleg.
Hey, this is Scotchhound. If you want to hear more from me, you can check me out on Twitter at Scotchhound_LC or on Twitch at Scotchhound. All right, we're back with the Brown Breeze section of the show. Calc, what are you drinking?
Nooner number
Nooner number 3? Nice.
Yeah, they're actually nice and cold now, so they're highly recommended for summertime.
Oh, gotcha. All right, myself, I switched over. I'm gonna follow up that nice expensive beer with a champagne of beers, my Miller Highlife.
I knew it. I knew you were going the Highlife.
My Milwaukee Piss, which is union made. I can't tell you what the hell the ABV is because it doesn't say on the can. Anyway, all right, let's move into some diarrhea of the mouth. A mother in Westchester, Ohio, bought Splatoon for her daughter at a Target a week before Christmas, where it was shrink-wrapped and locked in a case.
Of course, I mean, Nothing can go wrong at Target, right?
Yeah, everything seemed fine on Christmas morning until she took off the shrink wrap so her daughter could open the box, where she found a copy of Sensual Seduction 2.
Do you nice? Do you think there was a dirty gaze given across the room to the husband?
Oh, shit, maybe.
Caught in the act, did a quick replacement with the Blu-ray.
All right, so quote, I had to explain to her a little bit that Santa's elves don't make the video games. They actually get them from the stores, and it had to have been a mix-up that Santa didn't know about. End quote.
It could fly. I mean, I've used the Santa's helpers. Definitely get their supplies and materials from, because I've gotten the box from the store and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Why is there still a price tag on it?
I haven't got caught with that.
I'm kidding. Can you imagine though? Whoa, Miss Lippy. Why is there a receipt in the bag?
Yeah. Why is there a gift receipt in here?
Oh shit.
That's
Sensual Seduction 2, and then of course.
Now, wouldn't you? I mean, with games, I don't know. I mean, I guess I've never opened them with the shrink wrap, but wouldn't you think that like you would have popped the case open and checked it before you wrapped it?
Nah, me personally, probably not. But I got a question, because you did work at GameStop.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you had told me one time that when a game first came in, you were allowed to take a copy home with you.
Yes.
Bring it back, and then they would shrink wrap it again and put it on the shelf for resale.
We didn't shrink wrap them. They would just
be sold as a used game.
Yeah, because what happens with the used games is the case goes on display and the disc is in like a sleeve case in a drawer behind the counter.
Okay.
And so we were allowed to have one new title taken out. So if you were first on the list, you had to wait till somebody brought it back.
Okay.
You couldn't like take a new game and have 3 different people using up 3 copies of it. You only allowed 1 store copy.
Gotcha. But this was so the employees could talk about the game if.
Yeah, exactly. You could take it out for a night or 2 and get some experience. Obviously, if you had all that free time, you could beat the game obviously in 2 nights. But it was a way to do it.
Seems like the perfect gig for a Pigeon Peg Leg.
Oh man, he should definitely be part-time at GameStop. He would have it made.
Right.
Even if he should seriously go in, even if they gave him a 4-hour shift, he'd make out like a bandit. Yeah, I don't think this is how that happened though, because I mean, I would hope not. But even used game trade-ins, I mean, you open the case and check the game and everything. So
yeah, I
think I've heard stories. I mean, I think somebody razor knifed this thing and just slid it in there as a joke, and obviously this poor lady got the
Sensual Seduction 2.
She got it.
All right, we have Emily Fitzgerald said that when she made her first Yoni, that's Yoni necklace.
Is it Yoni? It's not like Yanni the singer. It's
I'm not sure.
Or the musician.
Maybe
Yanni.
It would be a long O because the I. Yeah. Yoni. All right, it's Sanskrit for down there lady parts.
Oh, nice. So
that's really that.
Sanskrit for the back.
I don't know if that's true or not. It could just be our own Pigeon Peg Leg joking with us. All right, her daughter called her a freak, but like a badass, she wanted to show her daughter that yonis are great. So she started selling them on Etsy.
Nice.
All right, so this is called the Galaxy Puss Pendant.
Okay, so for the listeners, these are little palm-sized, ornate necklaces that look like vaginas, lips and all.
But they're colorful. So
they're
like
very colorful.
The lipped area would be like blue, and then the regular external vulva area would be like a purple.
Yeah, there's some like nice contrast there, some different coloring.
Yellow and pink, pink and blue, purple and blue.
And now that's just your standard Galaxy Puss pendants.
Yes. Now they have a galactic which look to have something inside of them.
What, they got little sparkles in there? It's like,
Yeah, it looks like a sparkly stone, like a black stone.
looks like caviar pussy.
Do you pay extra for that? That's
Do you lick the caviar out of there?
Oh my god. And then there is the rainbow galaxy puss, which is the actual whole lips and everything else kind of have like a very LGBT kind of
I was
look
going to say those are
down.
those are for our LGBT listeners.
Yeah,
Those are
but then the center of it's filled with that. What did you call it? The
caviar
caviar.
puss.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Not the cheap shit either. The good Russian stuff.
That's right.
you
That's
know?
right. Now they also have what looks to be a all-seeing eye vaginae necklace.
Which looks very Lord of the Rings Sauron.
Oh my God, it has the all-seeing eye inside of the vagina.
Or it's the Geralt pussy.
Oh, Jesus. And then they have the vaginas with crystals, which is just a crystal stone inside of the vagina.
These ones are made by Jim Henson's Creature Shop. These look like the Dark Crystal.
Yeah. Those are actually interesting looking, other than the vagina shape of the regular necklace.
Well, with the vaginas with the crystals, you could probably almost get away with somebody not realizing their vaginas.
Sure.
But
All right. And then I guess there was one that was called the mirrored yonis at the end. We don't have a picture of.
But
I'm
do you
assuming
think,
it's just you putting a mirror in your pants and looking up or looking down at what you have in your pants.
do you think subconsciously that these are modeled after Emily Fitzgerald?
I would hope not, because they're all wide open. They're ready. They're ready for service. They have the neon open sign hanging over top of them. Yeah.
Hot dog down a hallway.
Oh my God. But I can completely understand and see where her daughter was calling her a freak. Well, I don't know if I'd call her a freak. I'd just say, are you freaking serious? This is what you're doing. Hey, if she's selling them, whatever.
There's a market for everything.
Seriously, there definitely is. All right. We have some questions from listeners. Our first question comes from the Ghost of Fidel.
Castro?
Yeah, I'm assuming so. What the fuck did my fellow countrymen do to me when I died? Not only did everyone around the world cheer of my death, but they also laughed at me as my brand new Russian SUV broke down. Why couldn't they do what they did for Taiwan's former Chiayi County Council Speaker Tun Sang? For Christ's sake. I was El Presidente, not a stupid council speak. Did I mention I had 50 pole dancers?
Oh, no. He had 50 pole dancers.
Oh,
so I guess this
speaker
council speaker had 50 pole dancers
in his
funeral
procession.
And our friend Ghost of Fidel here had his SUV breakdown, had to have his paramilitary push it for him.
The Taiwanese county council speaker, Hun Sang, had 50 pole dancers, which look like they're on the back of a pickup truck with a pole mounted in the back of the truck. 50 of them in his funeral procession. Looking ridiculous.
Well, I guess it's safe to say we know where a lot of the taxpayer money went to.
You can imagine where he was spent most of his time in that funeral procession. Can you imagine being his wife and that being like in his will for his funeral procession?
Oh my God.
He'd be so. Oh my God. All right. Sorry. Yes. Well, thank you for the question the Ghost of Fidel. All right. Our next question comes from Brad Pitt the Vampire. All right, I have to do this in vampire voice. It's preempting me to do so. Did you see my dreams have finally come true? Everyone thinks that vampires suck blood, but this is not true. We also love to relax and smell the delicious liquid luxury that fills our bellies. Now I can smell the Resident Evil 7 4D candle with joy because it smells like old timber, leather, and blood. So who's buying? P.S. Don't say blah blah blah. Nice.
Nice.
All right, so there's a Resident Evil 7 4D candle.
Well, you had me at timber leather, but then you lost me at
Yeah,
the
the
blood.
smell of old timber and leather and then blood.
I actually got my brother-in-law bought me a candle for my birthday. Or no, for Christmas. It's like a manly smell. It's like old tobacco pipe. It smells like an old man's like smoking room, you know? It's pretty good stuff actually.
You burn that in your man cave?
I haven't burned it yet. I just kind of lift the top off once in a while because it does get pretty strong.
Oh wow, okay. Just not even burning it, just with the top off.
Yeah, not even burning. But
Oh,
it's
wow.
funny that this has timber and leather because we know that he likes candles. He does like aromatherapy, so we picked him up burnt wood candles.
Okay.
You know, because men love to be in the woods and chop
Sure,
down
yeah.
trees and burn
Have
wood.
a campfire around, yeah?
Exactly. So yeah, this is interesting. How do you get the smell of blood?
I have no idea.
Is it like rotten carcass smell or?
Well, that's like the Birdie Bot's every flavor beans. How do you get the taste of vomit correct? or rotten egg? It's like I'm not gonna sit there taste testing what an actual rotten egg tastes like before I'd say, oh yeah, this Birdie Bot every flavor beans tastes like that.
Yeah, I've seen shows where they have like laboratories with like artificial powder scent of like every smell on the planet.
Now, this is interesting though, because they're calling it the 4D candle. So it's while you're playing the game, you burn this candle. It's like you're living in the world. Or
Shit! Okay,
what
I
you're,
didn't
what
think
you're
of that.
playing. So you're already seeing the game in relative, I guess,
So
3D, but now you're
thinking-
feeling it and smelling it.
I'm thinking this is the candle that burns while you're using the PlayStation VR.
Ooh, there you go. Completely, yeah, there you go. All right, that's the fourth dimension. There you already are playing the 3D, and then you got the fourth. Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Brad Pitt, the vampire. Very interesting.
So is that? That's. Would you get into something like that for your games?
I would actually. This is pretty cool because I know that there's like a lot of talk about doing stuff like this for movies. TVs having like scents while you're watching something. I think you or Pigeon Peg like definitely needs to pick up the PlayStation VR and order one of these candles and try it out.
Yeah. Oh my God. No thanks. All right. Well, thank you for the question at Brad Pitt the Vampire. Our last question comes from at inventor of the asthma attack. Oi! For Pigeon out there. Mate, you gotta help me. More specifically, all me fellow chaps here in London, right? You see, we reached our annual air pollution limits, right? In the first week of the new year. I rides me Vespa to work, since me car doesn't warm up quick enough. It take me 10 minutes before me get to work. What can we do to stop this, right?
So,
What can we do to stop the car warm up?
yeah. So what do we got going on here? Too much pollution?
We got oi. Mate, we gotta help me. More specifically, all my fellow chaps here in London, right? You see, we reached our annual air pollution limits, right? All right, so the first thing there is start riding mass transit or a bicycle. All right, so then it says whiff in the first week of the new year.
I didn't think it was that bad in London.
Yeah, I didn't either. I thought India and China were the bad.
China
polluters.
just makes up for everybody, but
Seriously. All right, it says, I rides me Vespa to work since my car doesn't warm up quick enough. It takes me 10 minutes before I get to work. What can I do to stop this?
Stop warming your Vespa up for 10 minutes.
Well, no, he says his car takes too long to warm up since it only takes him 10 minutes to get to work.
Oh, okay.
So he rides his Vespa. Well, I know in Sweden, when I was there for Christmas one year. They have a plug-in warmer for the engine block because it gets way down below freezing.
Yep.
So they have like an actual, like a little tiny plug, like an extension cord plug that hangs out their grill.
Yeah, oil pans and everything.
Yeah,
keep
and they
those
just
warm.
heat that thing. Yeah, they just have it plugged in overnight and stuff like that. So that could be something to fix that. But
Yeah,
again,
I'm still shocked on the whole London being that polluted.
yeah, with the air pollution thing, start riding mass transit or a bicycle, dude, and suck it up. It takes you 10 minutes to ride there by a Vespa. It takes you 20 minutes by bicycle, 30 minutes by bicycle. Start doing that to help yourself. I'm playing it. Calc?
What's that?
Anything else on that?
No. I agree with you.
Yeah, I wish I lived close enough to my job that I could ride my bicycle. Right now,
I wish I lived close enough to walk.
And right, yeah, I do walk. I walk to work.
Yeah.
All right.
Across the room.
Shut up. All right, that's the show. Thank you everybody for the questions, and thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. We are going to get out of here. It is now 11 or 10:59. Oh, we're just in time for the Switch presentation. So thank you everybody for listening. If you have any questions, please reach out to us on or at theloadedcouch@gmail.com or on Twitter at theloadedcouch. You can also reach Celtic Fox at CelticFox_LC on Twitter, or myself. I'm ScotchHound_LC on Twitter as well. We hope to hear from you, and thanks for stopping by. We'll look to see you next time. Thanks so much.
Later.